Yo, Rudy. So, you still buying Flesh and Blood collections and like losing money?
I sure am. I sure am. That's what smart people do down here in the ye old South Florida, man.
Folks, got another Flesh and Blood cold foil collection. I like these little deck protection things. I'm not sponsored. I don't really sell accessories, but I like how it's soft. It makes me happy. So I don't know. Maybe he sold some of these in advance. So check out this collection. I know, right? It's like a meme. Did he not buy anything? There's nothing here. Nah, I'm just messing with you. He has it organized very strange. Maybe he sold the rest first or whatever. So I bought a cold foil collection here. Nice little deal down here in ye old Florida before the heat kicks in. And today we're going to go through some cold foils, see what I bought. And I'm going to do a little rambling, shall we? Beginning of March 2022. All right, so we got a few. Let's just see what we got here. A couple WTR commons, cold foil, a little ARC cold foil. Then we got some crew actions down here. I don't know if you can actually see the cold foiling. Probably not unless I actually pull it out. Yeah, I mean, you probably can't even see it through the multiple layers of sleeves, but well, you don't really need to see the deal. Next page here, my very first cold foil libraries. I've never actually owned any cold foil libraries, so I actually got my very first cold foil libraries, and they look beautiful. Absolutely super cool. So we got some Monarch cold foils. Got a nice little play set there of the old libraries. We got ourselves two of the old carrion. We got the legendaries. We got 3 Doomsday cold foil legendaries. We got the old 3 Eclipse Roonies. More legendaries. And of course we go with the most beautiful Footsteps ever. It's probably my favorite, man. I think it's so cool looking, man. God, that thing is beautiful. Legend. And of course we got the Dynamos over here for Warrior. And of course over here on this page, we got the Soul. And then in the Majestic category, we got some Dread action. We got a little alt art, Galaxy Black. And over here, we got ourselves little Death Hydras. Got ourselves a little Luminarius. Luminarius? I don't know. I'm not smart enough. Over here, still in the Monarch land. Of course, Rudy's favorite blood drop artwork on there. We got some cold foil commons. Okay. Over here, we got more cold foil commons. These are all the Monarch cold foil commons. And of course, over here, we are still looking at Monarch. I think these are all Monarch. Is the helm? Is that cold foil Monarch? Yeah, that's still Monarch. I was like, wait a minute. Was that Toa? Nope, still Monarch. Of course, the Stubby meme. And of course, Time Skippers for probably one of the better cold foil commons. And then we jump over to Toa. My first actual cold foil Fables from Toa over here. The old Crossroads over here. I don't know if you guys can see that in the double, triple, quadruple sleeving. And place of those. Of course, we got 3 Hearts. We got a Horizon. We got the Extended Ram. We got 2 of the old Shakis for the Legendary page. Over here on Majestic Land, we got some of the old flashy cold foil extended, fancy, not extended, just the cold foil Majestics. We got Dust Blades Infamous. And then, of course, over here we got some more Weapon Majestics and Pulses. Next page, we move over into the old, I think these are all the commons. Yeah. So I think we have a play set of all the commons. A lot of beautiful cold foils. So you guys can see, let me center that a little bit better for you guys. Beautiful coloring. God, these things are just gorgeous. I know there's not really financial. Oh, these aren't even quadruple sleeves, so you guys can see. I mean, I know these things aren't worth much money, but man, and I know the market's just awful and nobody cares, but they're just so cool. I was like, at this point, you know, there's a point where just like Wall Street, the bearishness is just so negative. It's like, all right, man, I just gotta acquire some of this stuff. Same thing, all the cold foil commons over here. Last but not least, as we jump over to the newest set, probably my favorite little artwork here. I love that little mask of the pouncing lynx. So cool looking. Love that card. Looks beautiful. Of course, Majestic. We got some cold foil rares, some trinkets and amulets and different things like that. Some trinkets, amulets, rings. We got the little lantern extended arts over here. I know. It's amazing how low these prices are. I'm very surprised. Of course, a bunch of potions and trinkets again. Amulets, potions, and of course, talismans over here. I think, what was that one? Yeah, talisman still. And I think that's it. Nope, a little bit more over here. So into the last page, we got more of just the commons now, okay? I think these are maybe the duplicate of some of the other commons. I can't recall. And of course, some more commons and a little sledge action over here for crew. All right, so now that we just kind of glanced at everything, let's go back. I want to discuss kind of my thoughts on what's going on, pros and cons. Market conditions remain very... I'm not going to lie and BS it. For cold foils, the sealed product market remains very negative. People are still acting like it's a toxic asset and blah, blah, blah. It's just so bearishness. And these stores that email me and people say stuff, it's almost nauseating sometimes of the negativity that's thrown at it. and people act like everything's at zero, and it's frustrating. And I know I can't take it personally, and I know like LSS or James can't take it personally. It's just in my particular position, I get a lot of feedback from obviously people I've sold product to, and of course people who wanting to sell collections back to me, and of course other stores asking for feedback or, Rudy, what's coming? What do I do? So I'm kind of in the crosswinds of it all because of my involvement of the game since the very beginning, even though I actually don't really own anything with the game. But my face is in the game, and obviously I want the game to continue to be very successful, but it can be very challenging at times with people's the emotions and the feedback flinging everywhere. And of course nobody likes to lose money, and with the prices continuing to be very soft, it's very difficult to have conversations on some of these things. So I still love the cards. I still think it's a beautifully engineered game that's going to stand the test of time. I just don't know pricing and people's sealed product. And Rudy, what's the sealed box of this going to be worth in a year or the end of the year or next year? I don't know. I don't have data on that anymore. That's just where we're at. So as of the filming this, we'll start with the newest stuff, I guess, which is Everfest back here. Just so everybody knows, we're waiting or awaiting market updates and market information between Monarch print runs and the Fab 2.0 within the next 30-45 days, which is going to set the tone. So if this video comes out and you guys watch it before that, keep in mind this is being filmed before any major news. So I guess I'll maybe try to push this out in case news comes out and makes this video irrelevant, because I still want to share the really cool cards. So just be aware of that. So things can change very quickly, and this video could become very obsolete if information comes to light where a lot of this doesn't make sense anymore. So starting with Everfest, as of the filming of this, box prices are sitting around MAP. MAP is kind of holding the floor, but now there are multiple sellers and things starting to sell below MAP on Everfest already. They're kind of throwing in the towel. I've been contacted by a couple stores wanting to just unload their 30 or 60 or 120 boxes of Everfest. Obviously, they're like, we don't want to try to sell it at MAP. We take it for 68, 65 thing. Then, of course, I'm seeing some people starting to dump things on TCG Player below MAP pricing. Everybody's favorite Card Shop Live, Song and Dance, look over there. Misdirection has all kinds of bundles and things where they're selling Everfest they'll bundle it with other things so that they can circumvent the MAP thing, which is, continuing to put downward pressure across the board. And people who have more collectible, investable, or disposable incomes are not placing additional funds into the game because of the concerns of everything I just said. And there's a lack of confidence right now. And that remains the term I've used for a while. The consumer confidence is very weak. There's a lot of, I don't want to say like trust issues, but there's a lot of skepticism. As just like Wall Street, unknown and fear and skepticism can spread faster than any virus in the world, because fear can cause more damaging impacts to pricing and markets than anything in the real world. And that's kind of what seems to be feeding on itself, bouncing back and forth. So that's where it's at. And of course, Everfest and stores and people like that, putting that kind of downward pressure on the sealed product. And then you look at the volume of actual transactions selling, even at MAP pricing on TCG Player. I mean, it's challenging. It is, because the amount of supply continuing to come to market continues to enter the market and get listed online at a faster rate than any transactions are actually being sold for sealed boxes of Everfest or sealed cases of Everfest. It started out pretty good, though. There was a lot of volume being sold on sealed product on Everfest, and it seemed to be pretty balanced and holding good. But in the last about 7 to 10 days, it does seem like a lot more product is just coming to market. And for whatever the reason, the amount of sold, if you go on TCG Player, look at actual sold listings of booster boxes of Everfest or booster cases of Everfest, it's disturbingly low. Sometimes there's many days where it's one box sells. Sometimes there's 0 boxes selling an entire 24-hour window. Other times it's maybe 1, 2, or 3. There's no real volume uptick, which is showing a lack of demand. And if you don't have people willing to step up and place a bid, and you have a continuous continuing to be placed under the market, that race to the bottom of undercutting the previous listing is going to continue to outpace the bids that enter the market. So when you have a bid ask that's distorted like that, it's making things challenging. But it does feel like the prices are holding. So now that's all the negativity and bearishness. On the positive side of things, to me, it feels like the sealed box prices of Everfest are actually holding, though. Even with the extra supply and a few people getting pissed and dumping below map, for the most part, the market is pegged at map. Now, I don't know if that's just how low people are willing to go, or I don't know if it's just LSS is enforcing map, or I don't know if just these people don't want to get in trouble. I don't know what the specifics are, but it appears to be holding that. My concern remains is that obviously after so many months, the map is no longer valid. Map pricing, minimum advertised pricing, does not, or manufacturers, depending what terminology you want to use, that safety net for market stability will be removed in the coming months as we approach that 180 days post-release type thing. Now, when that happens, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. So, anyways, I want to get that out in the open. That's just the facts of what's going on. I'm not trying to be, bullish or bearish. I want to at least tell you guys what I see happening with market data. Now, as far as the single cards in Everfest, we're still having a slow drift lower, but nothing substantial. Now, again, there's no major price upticks. A few of the cards have moved up and they firmed up by a few dollars or maybe 10, 20%, but we're not seeing any substantial swings. Like some of these amulets or talismans or trinkets that were at $3, $4 for cold foil. Some people, there's definitely been more sold in actual transactions of people just saying, oh my God, cold foils for $3, $4. And people have moved in and bought quite a bit of them. I don't know if it's a single entity, a store, individual, obviously a collector, investor, not a player, has moved in and moved. And no, it was not me. I usually do collection stuff like this. I don't have time to track and keep track of 50 individual transactions on TCG Player to make sure I don't have time for that. But the point is, it does feel like there has been a bid on a lot of the cheap cold foils because a lot of the $2, $3, $4, $5 cold foils have recalibrated to that $10, maybe $15 range, which is a good thing. Now, another aspect of this is if we can continue to see the firming and stability of the single cards, extended art cards, the variant cards, alt art cards, cold foil cards, even just legendaries in general, and certain rainbow foils in general, whatever it may be. Or even the fabled, if we can continue to see a bid and stability in those areas, I think that can kind of back into the sealed product and actually allow the sealed product to kind of reinflate some. Because there's also kind of that inverted arbitrage where if the single cards, become the expected value of Everfest becomes back to $100, $150 a box, it'll put upward pressure on the sealed boxes because anybody can go on TCG Player, just buy 120 boxes for $77 to $78 a box and crack them all on a large scale to the point where the quantity of fables and legendaries levels out. And you can actually flip and sell singles since the single cards of Everfest are selling and have more liquidity than the sealed boxes at this point in time. So that's quite fascinating, which is also usually a sign that it's more players and people building deck and actually playing the game versus stores, collectors, investors whenever you have a weaker sealed market and a stronger singles market. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what we're looking at and everything. Again, conclusion, I still like the product. I think we're in a very awkward time. I still think things could very easily firm up and shift very quickly. This is one of those markets where, how on Wall Street, when everybody's so negative, the slightest piece of good news, and you could just see a roaring, ripping repricing of everything. I think that's a very realistic calibration. And I think that's a very realistic possibility that we could see a reprice of cards very, very quickly. And again, because unfortunately, there's not a lot of activity. There's not a lot of videos being made. There's no more discussions of expensive cards in FAB. There's no more discussions of boxes and who's got what. And because, you don't really hear anybody complaining about getting product or the prices anymore. So because of that, everybody's just stopped talking about it. And the quantity of, times being brought up because it's too expensive, this and that, is gone away. Because the supply problem and everything has been overcorrected into the other extreme of the pendulum. So, I do think Flesh and Blood is going to continue to do good moving forward. I don't want to be overly bearish on it, but I want to state the facts. I think the game is going to be fine. Okay? I don't know what true pricing is going to be in a post original 3. Some people, I mean, look, no joke. I've had multiple patrons already say, Rudy, Flesh and Blood, all about the original 3 horsemen. Like, people are already using that term. If it's not the original 3 sets, I don't want it. That's literally like a term. I was like, original three horsemen, Flesh and Blood. What? That's what people are saying. I've had multiple patrons already say, all I care about is the first 3 sets. After that, they got a taste of money and success. They raised the print run so much they destroyed first edition. That is, I've had multiple patrons pitch me that idea. Now, do I fully agree with that? You know, that they're pitching me that, and they're saying, well, you know, and they point to Magic the Gathering. You know, the beginning sets were good. Then they cranked up the print run with Fallen Empires, Chronicles, 4th edition Ice Age, and they crumbled it all. And then, of course, the counter argument is, okay, but, you know, 20 years later, all those prices skyrocketed. Yeah, well, Rudy, I'm not waiting 20 years. Okay, well, good talk. So, you know, I can move the pieces on the chessboard. We can go back and forth all day. But, you know, the speculation and the hearsay is just, you know, I'm trying to focus on the facts of what the market's doing versus what everybody thinks it's going to do. And right now, that's what it is. It's, you know, it's being carried everywhere. It's being played a lot. The first big Pro Tour thing is coming up in a couple months. And, you know, there is a lot of enjoyment. A lot of people still, and I'd be willing to say tens of thousands of people are enjoying the actual game itself. The way the game, the actual interactions, the mechanics, the actual combat, the gear, the concept of the game is alive and it's intact. So, with all that being said, I wanted to share this cold foil collection. And yes, by the way, I did buy this collection. This collection was, I think it's around a $5,000 collection I paid. Plus or minus 10%, whatever the final thing, the deal and the pricing comes to be around that price range. I believe this collection, I mean, I don't know what it's going to be worth because, again, by the time you see this video, the prices could be lower. By the time this video, you know, by the time they make announcements, the prices could be higher. You know, right now, you know, like Monarch single cards and Monarch sealed boxes are, you know, they've Monarch sealed product, as everybody knows. There's no point in beating a dead horse or beating a dead topic over and over. But everybody knows Monarch itself, sealed boxes of Monarch have gone down for literally like 8 months in a row. And the single cards have followed neck and neck because you can't have one tank without the other. They pull on each other. They are connected by a connection. So, Tales of Aria, let me back into Tales of Aria real quick now. We haven't really talked about it. Toa is a beautiful product. Again, people were upset. They did too much first edition compared to Unlimited. It doesn't feel special. The only difference being a cold foil. Nobody cares. Collectors are gone. Cold foils don't matter anymore. Rar, 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 anger, pitchfork, Power Rangers, Timmy's combined, and you got anger, emotion. That is the market's concept of Toa. And again, I'm not going to, you know, I hate to pick on, you know, good old card shops not live or, you know, the snowballs of channels. But again, people always say to me, they're like, Rudy, that was a defining point to me. When out of nowhere, post-release, you know, card shop that's only live on certain days of the week, unloaded thousands of boxes below map and this and that. And, you know, at that point, I still get messages. That was the moment I was out. I've gotten so many messages of people who were big and spent tons of money on Fab. When they saw that, they're like, I'm out. I don't trust anything anymore. I don't believe anything. And I've seen that. And then, of course, with the Everfest thing, and of course, people send me links. Hey, Rudy, what do you think of this bundle? First edition box, but it's got other stuff with it. So, you know, technically it's below map, but, you know, you can't really see it. And then, you know, there's nothing I can say to that. I don't know what the market is looking for me to say. And unfortunately, you know, because we did the Gem Keeper and we've done promos and we've done a lot of awesome things in 3 years with LSS and James, a lot of people look for me for guidance on what the company's going to do, and I don't have that. You know, I don't get that kind of information from the company. James and the company does not disclose the details of what's coming in advance. I don't have that. I don't know what the print runs are. I don't even know the name of the next set. I don't even know the theme of the next set. I don't have any of that information. You know, this isn't, you know, other card games and this isn't even, like Magic, I know the set name for every set in the next 12 months. I know the set name for the next 2 years for Metazoo. I know the set names for the next 2 sets of Pokemon type thing. Flesh and Blood, I don't have that information, folks. You know, it's not a conspiracy theory. There's nothing shady. I just don't know. So I'm here speculating and telling you what I see. And when I'm listening, when I report all this information to you guys, when I do a collection deal, and you guys can look at some cool cold foils, And I reported all to you all what people have been saying to me and what people are thinking and what's happening and why people are making decisions. My job is to compile it, share the collection I buy, tell you all about everything that people have been yapping to me about the last few months, and put it out there for the market and for you guys to help make feedback, responses, and comments or memes or jokes or, Rudy's X and hairstyles and washer and dryers below. And that's where it is. That's where we are, folks. Again, this stuff isn't going to zero. People act like Monarch's going to be $20 a box. People are like, oh, Everfest, once MAP and the restrictions removed, Everfest is going to be $30. And if they ever, no joke. The amount I've had, this is the end of the video. No one's watching anyways. And I love you, James. I love you, LSS, everything. And, I get these people, man. I get Patron messages, and they're just like, if LSS even considers an Everfest Unlimited, I'm out. And I'm like, I don't, they're going to do what they're going to do. Maybe it's already made. Maybe they planned it in advance. Maybe it's going to be a small one, like Crew Unlimited, and then of course, and then they reply to me, go, Rudy, first edition boxes are being held up by a safety net of MAP pricing. You put unlimited boxes out there, they're all going to $20, $30 a box. It's dead. I don't know if that's true or not. Because it depends on what the market is. What if they release Everfest Unlimited in a year from now? And, the supply dwindles and all of a sudden you would see, I feel like everybody would feel differently if the prices of Everfest First Edition were 100 or 150, which is where I think they should be if the correct calibration is in place. I feel a First Edition box at release should not be under MSRP. That's my opinion. And if MSRP on Fab remains at $100 a box, where MSRP on Magic's like $144, MSRP on Metazoo is like $150, MSRP on Pokemon is like $144, depending where the MSRP is. But a first edition product should not be below that. I think it should be $100 to $150. And, that's just my personal opinion. So that's the Rudy speech. Make fun of me all you want. Still buying cold foil collections. I guess I'm the only moron doing it because everybody makes fun of me. Even when I share this video, I'm sure people are kind of gonna laugh at me and think, I'm an idiot, but whatever. I like the cards. I still like the game. I believe in the people running it. I think they're gonna self-correct. I think it's gonna work, and I'm still buying. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only idiot doing it, and I know people make fun of me every time I do this. So I don't know. Only time will tell who's right or wrong. But I continue to stay the course. I like my cold foils. I think the cards are beautiful. I think the game is very special, and I think it's going to be around. I can't predict what pricing it's going to be with the game around. That's all I got. Still love it. Hate me all you want.